Hello everyone, nice to have you back for another episode of our 107 channel. This is the third video of a series of videos dealing with all sorts of issues of a malfunctioning cruise control. Today we deal with what is left when you think that you have checked everything, every possible faulty part of your cruise control. For example, you have checked everything step by step, is what you think, but there are some other steps left, such as tension peaks, wrong resistance, wrong or no signal to activate the actuator under the bonnet. We will start right after the introduction. The first thing we want to check is this plug with 7 pins which leads to the actuator. Since this is a 1988 560 SL, therefore in most cases you find the plug being attached in a rectangular hole in the frame right here. Just press against the plug from the outside, it will come loose instantly. I have detached the plug from the socket. This is what it looks like. The socket with 7 pins is transmitting signals to the actuator. Every pin has, let me say, an individual assigned purpose to transmit a certain signal. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? We start by checking the resistance of one of the pins. The counterpart with the 9 pin holes is being disconnected. Little room in here, but we manage somehow. Hope there is enough light for you to see it. We now start measuring the resistance of pin number 3 and number 1. My multimeter shows me a kilo ohm. This may vary a little from year to year of production. I now check pin number 5 and number 4. I attach pin number 4 to minus and that one, and pin number 5 to plus. My little power supply unit is now being switched on. Can you hear the actuator working? Seems to be alright and functioning. I'll give it a close-up so you can have a better look. The actuator has to work both ways, accelerating and decelerating. I now connect the cables vice versa. Pin 4 connected to plus and pin 5 to minus. I activate 12 volts and the actuator should be functioning this time just as well. If you touch it, you feel the soft vibrations. Next step, we check that electronical clutch within the actuator, which works in a similar way just like your starter. Pin 6 is attached to minus, pin 7 is attached to plus. We now wait for a knock from the actuator. When it is engaging, it makes knock. I switch the power unit on. By coincidence, the knock and the clack from the switch was in the very same second. I'll do it again, you might be hearing it better. The actuator working nicely with our 2 previous checks. Let us hang on for check number 3. I know what you are thinking. This is an absolute mess, isn't it? We now check resistance between pin 1 and pin 2. My multimeter shows 3.2 kilo ohm already. In addition to that, I connect pin 5 and 6 to mass and pin 4 and 7 to plus. If I flip the switch at my power source, we should hear the actuator working. We should see the throttle linkage moving to the front end. Everything seems to be working nicely. Resistance shown on the display is a lot less. Welcome to my footwell, everyone. As you can deactivate your cruise control as well with your brake pedal, let us check its functioning. This is the plug that I have detached from the cruise control unit. I insert my plus pole in plug number 8 and attach black to mass and oops. Something wrong. I should be having a 0 volt on the displays. I have a 250 millivolt. Something wrong. When I press on the brake pedal, I'm expecting some 12 volts, but I hardly reach a 9 volts, with the pedal almost touching the carpet. Next step, we check if the control unit of the cruise control is getting enough current. Black goes to plug number 12 and red to plug 1. Here at the end of the right side. Looks like a Lego. We should be getting a 12 volts, just fine. 12.3 volts, it is just fine. We leave it as it is. Next test. We check the connection between control unit and actuator under the bonnet. The socket connecting the actuator is being plugged in. Let us check resistance between plug 9 and 12. Connect plus to number 9 and minus to 12. It should be above 1 kilo ohm. We have a 3.2 kilo ohm, which is just fine. Next step, connect plus to number 9 and minus to 13. Result is a 1.5 ohm. Now plus to 12 and mass to 13. This result here of a 3.2 plus the previous result of 1.5 should add up to get the result of the first test. Next step, check if the signals being sent from the control unit to the actuator are within tolerance. Plug 10 is connected to 12 volts and plug 7 to mass. I now flip the switch of my external power source to on. Let us get back to the engine bay and have a look if our actuator is actually working. Hope you can hear that noise coming from the actuator. Seems to work nicely. The signals arrive right here. These steps that we just went through are in addition to these jobs of the first video we have done. All these efforts to check if the actuator is broken or not. It seems a little painstaking, but why replace an expensive part for nothing, because the culprit is to be found elsewhere. An actuator costs between 300 and 600 euros. No need to spend that money for nothing. I will combine all the videos concerning cruise control in a separate chapter. Other ways to check even further is a test drive with two persons. One is keeping his eyes on the road and person number 2 is doing the checks with cables and a multimeter. Do not try to do it on your own. For example, the cruise control stalk at your left hand side of the wheel is damaged or worn out and not sending signals to the cruise control unit. It happens sometimes after all those years, but in most cases the actuator is broken or the linkage loose or this or that. Hope you have liked it and could get useful information. Hope to see you around next time with another episode. Bye bye everyone.